Today's review is the Diamond Select Toys Marvel Select Anti-Venom action figure. As you can see here, it doesn't come with any accessories except for a 3-piece diorama which you can connect together. So we'll just put anti-venom aside and let's put this together. There's actually some peg holes on the display stand which connects pretty well with the separate piece. Here's the display stand fully assembled. It's pretty simple. So there's actually 2 peg holes for anti-venom's both feet. So one's here, and you could just peg them into the figure. And you're gonna kind of have to swivel the legs a little bit to make sure he extends out to the pegs. It looks pretty nice just overall. If you're looking afar, it almost looks like a statue if you did not know it was an action figure. So just, you know, rotating 360 here, you can tell there's a lot of detail from the figure and the display stand, which is pretty nice. I mean, you get the bang for your buck here. So let's take a closer detailed look at the display stand. So just taking a look at the display stand alone, you can tell it's pretty nicely painted. You got some really nice paint detail on the actual base. If you can't see it from the side view, you can see a little some mechanical, looks like a barrel there that's melted, and some destroyed bricks from a building and other parts of a building. And then you have the white symbiote waves, or whatever you call it, from anti-venom that's splashed on the display stand. That's pretty nice. And it kind of looks like it's orbiting around anti-venom when he's on the stand. I mean, like all Marvel Select figure display stands, they definitely spend a good amount of time and detail into it, which I definitely appreciate. Let's go over the articulation. At the head is a slight ball joint. I'm having trouble moving up and down with the head, only because there's really not much slack into moving the head. But just the way it came out of the package, it looks nice already, so I don't think you really need to move it up and down, but you could do rotation left and right. And at the shoulder is a ball joint. You can rotate, you could bend. At the elbow is just a bend, there's no rotation. At the hand, wrist is just a rotation. At the waist is rotation, there's no ab crunch. At the upper legs are ball joints. I'm not a big fan of these because they look kind of weird if you notice them, and you can't really see where the peg is, so you're not sure where you're bending the legs. So I usually just match up the paint that's on the ball joint with the legs and the upper body to make sure that's where it's aligned to, and then try to work from there. At the knee is a bend, there's no rotation. At the foot, there's no rotation, but there's a bend. In terms of paint detail, I can definitely say that this figure came out of a comic book, even though I haven't seen the comic book. But just the overall look of the figure, you could get a good sense of what the character looks like. So just up close on the face, I really like what they did by doing the opening mouth design of it. He has a disgusting looking tongue in there. I don't know if I could zoom in. Let me try to do that right now. Yeah, it's pretty, his face is pretty disgusting looking. He has like red looking teeth, pinkish, and his eyes are like just evil looking. It's like a yellow shade in there. And he has a little black spiky beard to him. Yeah, so going back to paint apps, overall his body has like a dark black wash to him on top of the white. So it's white from the camera as you could see it, but it's definitely a darker wash of it. There's also the spider symbol that's on his body. As you can see, it starts from the middle of his chest and it spans out to his arms, to his legs. And I mean, let's take a look at the back. It's also there. I really like that part of it. Otherwise, you know, he's just a white looking figure. In terms of sculpt, first thing I got to mention, because it's the first thing I noticed when I took him out of the package, he has these plastic spikes all over him. It's hard to find a place to hold them so you don't get hurt or poke your fingers. The chest is probably the best area, but yeah, I mean, just his outer arms and legs, he has plastic spikes all over, so you got to be very careful holding this figure. It's definitely not a kid's toy. I don't recommend this to a kid at all, because they could just chuck this at someone. And I've got some scratches just by moving this figure around. So be very careful with that. That's, you know, part of the scope and that's part of the character, so I respect that. And just overall, you can see that his body, such as his chest, is nicely detailed. There's some muscles going on. There's his, you could just tell that, you know, this white symbiote that took over his body, is, you could see that it's right on top of his skin. That's how realistic it looks in terms of a comic book character. So here I brought in the anti-venom from the Marvel Legends line. He's from the Hobgoblin Build-A-Figure wave, and I'm not as impressed with the paint apps of the Marvel Legends version. Well, it is a Marvel Legends figure, so paint apps is not as detailed as Marvel Select figures are, but their articulation, as with other molds in Marvel Legends, are definitely way better. They have a lot more articulation in throughout the body. So that's sort of like a minus and plus here, opposite of the anti-venom from Marvel Select. So you could tell that the Marvel Select figure is in scale with their other figures, which is 7 to 8 inch, while the Marvel Legends is 6 inch. In comparison, you can't really beat the Marvel Select version for paint apps and the sculpting, but in terms of articulation, that's one thing that the Marvel Legends figure beats Marvel Select out of. If I were to provide a suggestion or a recommendation of the Marvel Select figure, I would recommend it if you're a Spider-Man, Venom, Carnage fan, because they're sort of along the same line of enemies and heroes. So I think, you know, he would make a perfect addition to the collection if you like those figures. And I'm glad to actually add this figure to my collection. I had him in the packaging for a long time since I bought it, and I'm definitely happy that I opened it. Aside from, you know, the small disappointment that the articulation's weak, I do still like the figure, especially when it's on its diorama. It makes it look way, 5 times better. If you liked the video, give a thumbs up, comment and question below, subscribe to my channel Rockstick, and I'm going to have more videos for you guys soon. Have a good day.